Hello, this is Chodaros with another awesome bracelet. This one is called the Empire bracelet, and it was designed by the great loomer from Norway. I super love this bracelet. I think it is a super awesome design. It's unique to me. It's very well made. It's sturdy. Front and back look exactly the same. It's just a really good bracelet. I am impressed. So kudos to Loomer from Norway. So you'll need about 18, these are about 8mm beads. 20 if you have a large wrist. This one here I made out of 20, and it just is a little bit too big, which I don't have an over large wrist, but I'm going to go with 18 beads today. So there are a couple ways that we have to pay attention on how we're laying the bands, and pretty different way we're going to be looping up the border, so we need to pay a lot of attention to that part. So let's grab our supplies and get started. So you will need a 5-pin bar setup. So your first and last pin bar are at the same height, then you go down 1 peg and your middle 3 are at the same height. I cannot stress enough to you that this has to have a really good support system as far as your base. Your base must be a really strong support. As I was on vacation, I loomed this one and I didn't have a good support, so I had to kind of hold on to it. When we go to loom up the first and second and the fourth and fifth, they are squeezing together extremely, just a lot. So please make sure that you have a good base. There's so much info that I wanted to let you know, as Loomer from Norway writes like a book when she gives instruction, which is phenomenal. She does really good at giving instruction to make sure everybody gets the info that they need. So with this bracelet alone, as I had mentioned, it's a little bit long for me. It may not have been as long if I wouldn't have used silicone bands. Silicone bands are heavier, and I used the sweets. I used glitter pink and the silk pink, silk white, and that's about it. If you use opaque or, God forbid, LE, which I would not use because it's such a tight stitch on the outside, but any band that doesn't have as much elastic to it, or elasticity, might give you a smaller bracelet. And she did show examples of different types of bands and that they were smaller or larger. So you will need, I'm going to use 18 8mm beads. And the great thing is that we get to put our beads on clear jelly bands if we prefer, because these bands will not be shown. I always suggest clear bands or jelly, clear bands for beads, because they're extremely easy to put on. How you can tell where you're going to stop adding beads is what I would like to show you next. So right here is where our and don't do this, this isn't a part of the bracelet, I'm just showing you right now. Right here, which is 2 pegs up, is where your first bead is going to lay. Okay, so the next bead is going to lay on the next 2 pegs. So if we're going to lay 18, so that'd be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. You want to count up 18 pegs, okay? And I'm just going to put just a band across there. You want to do something, because our beads aren't going to be placed until last. So we want to make sure that we have an ending point, okay? So as long as you have that marked, then you know how far up you need to go. If you're going to do 20 beads, then you go 2 more and so forth. It would be 10 beads if you had done 1 loom. Okay, it's very non-traditional looming and very non-traditional laying of bands. So, if you're wanting to do it in the certain colors, we don't have a traditional perimeter that we lay. It's laid in two different patterns with two different bands. So the first band that I laid was the glitter pink, and the second was the sweets or silk pink. The first two bands that you lay on your loom are going to be your perimeter bands. So please keep that in mind as far as color. I'm going to be using glitter gold, and then this, I think it's Persian blue or something. Okay, the third band that we're going to lay is going to be in a V shape, and that's this white color that you see in between the beads. And for that color, I'm going to use a highlighter. It's like a Persian pink or something. And then we're going to lay a single chain going up the center, and it is suggested to possibly use the same color as you used one of your border colors, and in this case I used the glitter pink. Okay, so just for color options, and this one, which is the glitter, which is the first band that I laid, I believe, that's the majority of the border you can see. All right, if I forget anything, I'm going to let you know. I don't want anybody to have any questions if you don't have to. Okay, so we're only going to lay 5 bands, or we're only going to lay a row of bands on our first, right here. Okay, so it's going to be the second color that you choose to lay, if this makes any sense. So I'm going to use glitter gold, so I'm going to put 1 for closure, and then it doesn't matter which side you go to first, but I'm going to take 1 band out to the left, another out to the right, diagonally to the first pin bar, and out like that. Okay, that's the end of the traditional placing of bands. Now, the next color that you want to use, which will be your first color, okay? Remember I said the first 2 colors you lay are going to be your perimeter. Well, mine is going to be glitter gold and this blue. So we're going to take it from the second peg and the 4th peg, just straight up. Okay? And then from there, from that second peg, we're going to go out diagonally. Out diagonally. Then after that, straight up. And then out diagonally. Diagonal. Okay? So I know it looks simple, and it is simple the way we're laying it, but it's very, very important that you do it in this order. The band has to go first straight up and second out to the sides. Okay? Again, it has to go forward first and then diagonally out. Super big deal that we lay it in that order, or the bracelet will definitely not loom up in the end. Okay, so we're going to continue that pattern all the way up our loom until we reach that 1 band that we placed for cutoff. And when we're done placing these bands, then we'll come back and start our second color, which will be the other color you will have in your perimeter of your bracelet. Alright, so I wanted to show you how the end should look here. So this line, the band that I put across here, was to show me that this is where bead 18 is going to lie on my loom. That's not where I want to stop though, because I want to have my bracelet have a little bit of a closure after that last bead is placed. So I want to take it a bit further. So you have a band that's going out to where that marked band is, and then we have a band going up past it, and then we have another band going out, and then you want to stop with the band going forward. Okay, so you don't want to stop with the band going diagonal. The last band that you place needs to be a band that's going forward. Okay, and like I said, you just want to make it further. You want to make it past your 18th or whichever number of beads that you're going to have that mark. So then you need to take that band out, which gets stretched pretty well, but I'm just going to break mine out instead of moving my bands. Okay, so now that we have all of those placed, now we get to place our border, second border color. Okay, so again, this color here. So I will continue with the glitter gold, and again, this is really important on how you lay these bands because it ties into when we go to loop the bands, we need to make sure that they're placed correctly. So first we start with a band going straight up, and then we want to put a band going from this second pin down to the first pin. Okay? Then we want to place another band going straight forward, again with the band going diagonally down. Okay, so the band that goes forward should always be in front of the peg that we're putting diagonally back. So it's not hard, but you just want to make sure that when you place that band and it's going to be the area where the two bands meet, we want to go back down. So again, you place it forward and then down, forward and down. And I cannot stress enough that these bands need to be really stretchy bands. We're doing a lot of pulling in different ways. So that's that side, and then this side you're always starting going straight. So you take your band straight, and then you want to take it sorry. So you want to take it down like that. So again, you go straight up, and then you're going down this way, I'm sorry, down, okay, straight up, and then take it down. Okay, so just make sure that you're laying them in that order. And again, we're going to do this all the way up our loom. And when you are finished, please make sure that you push down all of your bands so we can add a couple more layers on top. Okay, so not too difficult, just make sure you're doing it in the correct order. We're going to do that all the way up until we reach the point where we are going to stop. Alright, so we are towards the end for placing these bands, so I wanted to make sure that you place them correctly. So I have my last band, I placed one going forward and then that one going in, and then I have my blue band where the bracelet stops is on this peg here. So I do want to go ahead and place a band going from where I left off with the band going straight, and we want to put that diagonally in. So then technically that one lays on top of our last band that we laid. Okay, so that's what the ending should look like. And those two are the hardest ones to loom up in this bracelet, which is, it's super unique. I think it is, the way that we loom them. And bear with me because it's super hard to explain. Alright, so our next is our V bands. So remember, the V bands are the ones that you'll see that are surrounding your bead, and these are just going to go from the center up, little bit of a stretch like that, and just the same exact, see that's a thick one, I don't want that, just the same exact pattern all the way up the center. So there's a lot of thick ones in there. Okay, so that's pretty self-explanatory. You want to make your V's all the way up to the end until you can't make any more V's. And then we'll be back to place 2 more items and then we can loom it out. Okay, so once we have all of our V bands placed, your V should end up again on these 2 pegs where all of our bands are kind of coming together. And now we want to take 2 bands that are the same color that we used in the beginning when we just laid the first row perimeter. So mine was the glitter gold, and we just want to place 2 bands across these 2 pegs here. So in essence, we just joined the design together. Okay? All right, so very, very simple step, but I'm going to give you 2 steps to do it once. So the next step is going to be our single chain going up the center. So again, it was, you know, Loomer from Norway had said that she always uses the same color, one of the colors she uses in her border. So I think I'm going to use, I was going to use the glitter gold, but yeah, maybe I should stick with the glitter gold. Okay, so we just want to grab my bands. We're just going to lay single chain all the way up. Okay, so I have no doubt you guys know how to do that. Go ahead and finish that up. But I'm also going to give you the next step to do, which is the last step after you are 100% done laying your single chain up the center. Our last step is to add our beaded band. Okay, so again, the bead is going to go up 2 pegs, and then when you go out to the right and the left, you see there's that open space there. So one end of your beaded band and the other end. So it's a very long stretch, and that bead will lay right in the center of that single chain, okay? And then it is every space after that. So it's every peg in that lineup. Lineup, I mean every one of these outer pins are going to have a band on it. So simple enough. That's how we're going to do that. So you can see how important it is to make sure that your beaded band is a strong, durable band. Okay? And that, if we counted correctly, because we're going, at least I'm doing 18, it should put me up where I had my marker at earlier on. Okay? So first, single chain all the way up to the end, and then second, adding all of your beaded bands. And most importantly, when you're finished, please make sure that all of your bands are pressed down. And when we are all done with this, then we can finally start the looming process. All right, we finally have all of our bands laid. So I am not, we need to turn it around. I'm not going to put much attention on the easy parts, so we can save time at the end for a difficult part. So we want to put a cat band on that center peg there. So the first thing we want to do is we just want to go in and grab the first band on top under that cap band, push that cap band down, and that's going to be the band going forward. Loom that, and then we want to loom out these two side bands. So whichever one is on top next, loom that back to itself, and then same for this side. Okay? And then easy, we're simply going to loom up the center chain. And it is okay whenever you're looming the center chain if your bead ends up crooked, because when we go to loom out the V bands, it opens up that space and your bead will fall right in the center. Okay, so go ahead and loom up your center chain all the way until the end, and then we'll meet back here. Alright, so we have all of our center chain loomed up, and make sure that those bands are pressed down as far as they can go. And so the next bands that we're going to loop are the V bands. So we want to go into this second peg, and whichever band is on top, in my case it's this one, we're going to loom it down. So all of your V bands get loomed down to themselves. Okay, so we're always starting in the center. So in this one here we have a bead, like we will in every other one. You want to go around the bead. You make sure you go in front of that bead. We don't want to grab anything that has to do with that beaded band. And just grab that V and bring it down. So we are not looming the beaded band at all. All the bands that are around it will keep it nice and snug in place when we're finished. But just make sure that you're going in front of the bead next to the peg and grabbing your V band. So as you can see, that is opening up a nice hole there for your bead to be seen. Not too hard. Always making sure you're grabbing the band that's on top. It can be easy that you might have put one V band, the left one on instead of the right, or vice versa. Okay, so let's go ahead and loom those up to the end, and then we'll already be on the hard part. There's only one more step and we'll be finished. Alright, so here comes the challenging part. So the rule here is, if you see a straight band, you loom it diagonally. If you see a diagonal band, you loom it straight. So whichever way you see a band, you're going to loom it the opposite than how it's laid. Very hard to, I guess, explain. But after you get the hang of it, it's really not hard. So we want to go into this pin bar here, and we want to grab the top band, which is this diagonal band here. Hold on one second. Okay, so this band typically would go back to itself, but we're going to loom it straight. So if the band is diagonal, it gets loomed straight. Okay, so we have another band that goes from this pin, and that band is down here. It's loomed, we placed it straight. So now we want to take that band and loom it diagonally to the right. Okay. Alright, so that's just for the beginning. So now what we want to do is, hopefully I don't mess this up. Alright, we want to start with this perimeter So we go in, and the first band that's on top is the straight band, but we want to take it and loom it diagonally into the left. Okay, the next band on that in that peg is the band that's going diagonally. So we want to take that band and we want to loom it straight. Okay, every time you place a band, you want to press these pegs down, or press your bands down. Okay, so you can kind of see that we just cleared up this corner right here, and that is loomed so we can take it off the loom. These are grabbing the bottom bands. Alright, so now we want to go into this second peg here, and we want to grab the band that's on top, which is the band that's going diagonally this way. But we want to take a diagonal band and always loom it straight. And the next band in line is the one on the bottom. That's a straight band. Oops. We want to take that band and we want to loom it diagonally to the right. Okay, so you can maybe already start to feel how snug that is. It's really going to squeeze your loom. Alright, so now that we have this one done, let's move back to the perimeter. So we go into this next peg. We want to grab the band that's on top, which is the band that's going straight, but we want to take it and pull it diagonally to the left. Underneath, there's a band that's running from here to here. We want to take that band and do the opposite and pull it straight forward. Okay, so again, every band that's placed diagonally, we're looming straight. Every band that is placed straight, we're looming diagonally. So we have to jump from this pin bar to this pin bar to this pin bar to this pin bar. Okay? Alright, I'm really trying my hardest to get this on film. So, okay, so then we go back into this one here. You see we have a diagonal. That's our next one. So we go in and we grab that top band. It's running diagonally, but we want to pull it straight. The band underneath is running diagonally. We want to take, or straight, I'm sorry, take that band and we want to pull it out to that peg there. Okay? So the next one in line will be our perimeter. Okay, so we have to get this one here. So again, we go in, we grab the top band, and we loom it in. Then we take the next band in line, that's diagonal, and we loom it up straight. And then we have to go to the fourth pin bar now to make sure that we grab these bands. So then we grab that top one there, that's diagonal, and we want to pull it straight, and we want to grab that bottom straight band, and we want to pull it diagonally. Okay, so now we go back out to the perimeter, grab that top band and pull it diagonally in, and then we have the diagonal band on the bottom that we're going to pull straight ahead. So then we have to go into this pin bar, and we have a diagonal band on top, and this one needs to go straight, and then we have a straight band on the bottom, which needs to come out and go diagonally. Okay, so hopefully you're grasping it. It's really not difficult once you get a hang of it, but you can't lose your place. Definitely one area that you want to make sure that you have enough time to start and finish. So again, just need to make sure it's just the top band. So we're just zigzagging in and out, in and out. So now we come out to the perimeter, the last pin bar, and that one in, and this one forward, and then we go to this pin where you see the next diagonal, loom that one forward, and then loom that bottom one out. So we go into the next, loom that straight one, we loom it diagonal, and then the diagonal we loom straight. Go into the next, loom this one forward, and then loom this one diagonally. And there isn't much room on your pegs once you put that band, so you really got to make sure that you're paying attention and pushing your bands down. Go a little bit faster. Okay, so I am going to do this entire side with you because I'm going to show you something that I do to alleviate the tension on most of my bracelets. that bottom band gets pretty tight when you're trying to pull it up. Because there's a lot of bands on the fourth pin bar, this pin bar here. Alright, so we are coming to the end. Goodness gracious. Narrow that out. So we have one more left. And that's going to this end pin, and then the last one will go out to the side. Okay, so excuse me, in order to finish this whole side up, we have 2 perimeter bands that we placed. So we want to take and loom up that last band to that peg, and then the next one to the center peg. Okay, so if your loom, if you turn it to the side, you should see no bands on the perimeter. Okay, if you see that it's nice and clear and you have no bands, then that means that you did a good job as far as picking up each one in order. So what I'm going to do, which you do not have to do, I can get it all on film, I'm going to go ahead, before I even do the other side, and take off this outer pin bar because there is so much pressure on it. I want to alleviate that before I build up pressure on the other side and have a likely chance that it might crash in. So you absolutely do not have to do this, but if you are worried about your loom collapsing, might be a good idea to alleviate that pressure at least. And to be honest with you, when I did my last one, I did both. See, these are really far down and they're scaring me. Pray to the loom god. Yes. Thank you, Lord. I didn't miss any. Thank God. Alright, so again, you could go as far as even taking off. If it's really tight for you, you can go as far as taking off this pin as well, or pin bar. So, like I said, this is only if you're terribly afraid that your loom is going to buckle and you're alleviating all of the tension, and that way whenever you go to loom the other side, you'll only have half of the tension. Okay, so let's go ahead and we'll start this side here. So I have to loom it like this. Alright, so it is the same steps as we did before. So we want to start in this pin bar and grab that top band. And that's not it. Should be the only. Let me make sure all my bands are straight. Oh, I'm sorry, my thumb's like totally in your face. Gosh darn, that's not it either. There we go. So we loom this one straight, and then we loom that one out to the left. Okay, now we start in the perimeter, and we take the top one and we loom that one in, and then the bottom one up. And then we go into this peg and we loom that diagonal one straight, and then we loom the straight one diagonally. Okay, so we go back out to the perimeter. The first band we loom in, and the last band we loom straight, and this top band we loom straight, and the bottom band we loom diagonally. Alright, do you think you guys got it? I hope you do. It's really not difficult, especially since we just did that whole side. I have faith you guys got it. Okay, so if you need any assistance, please go ahead and rewind it. I think I spent a lot of time on this right side here, so hopefully you guys have got an idea. So when you are finished, just go ahead and pull it off your loom pin by pin like I was doing. I do not pull it. I would ease its way off of your loom, and at the end you want to make sure that you add your C-clip and whatnot. Okay, so let's try give it a go and see what we end up with. All right, you should have it off your loom, and I am in love again with the bracelet. Oh, I think it's just really smart. I bravo on design. I love it. I think it's so super cool. So because I chose to use the silicone bands, I have a ton of untwisting to do. Okay, so we're going to go with that great tip from Artisan Loom, which is taking one band, twisting it to get it correct. So I'm not going to bore you and do my entire bracelet, but I am happy that I used the glitters again on the edge because it does give it a little bit of a flare. But I noticed in this one, which I didn't notice in my last, when I turn it over, this color is the border of the bracelet, which I think is super cool. So you do have two distinct sides. I know I never really go like insanely crazy about designs, but I am just loving this one. So again, it is called the Empire Bracelet. Now, I did 18 beads. and it fits my wrist perfectly. This one I did 20 beads, and it is just a tad too long. So they're both made out of silicone, which are stretchy bands. So these are my two lovely renditions. I am so super excited for you guys to check out Loomer from Norway's account and let her see your super awesome renditions of the Empire bracelet. So please click on her link below. Definitely give her a follow. I know she's having some difficulties with her Instagram account deleting, so she's trying to repopulate it about once a week, so hopefully she gets that straightened out. But do make sure you tag her and myself as well, which is Chodaros_Bling, which will be down below, and show us what awesome creations you came up with. So thanks for watching, guys. I so much appreciate it, and thank you again to Loomer from Norway for allowing me to make another one of your fabulous designs. So make sure that you stay tuned because we have some super cool ones coming up as well. So again, thanks for watching. Take care. Bye-bye.